right. Well, my name's Ann McNeill, and I am the Master Wealth Builder, helping to build stronger and better lives and businesses as I elevate and help entrepreneurs to go to the next level in their business and their life. And as the founder of the International Mastermind Association, focusing on the principles of the book Think and Grow Rich since 1979, the founder of MCO Construction and Services as the first Black female contractor in the state of Florida, operating at the level that we do, focusing on billions, not millions. The founder of MCO Construction, where we provide outreach, monitoring, and compliance services to major billion-dollar organizations that work on public sector land. And of course, owner of Constructivist Speaking, where we speak to share to elevate small businesses. And last but not least, the founder of the National Association of Black Women in Construction, helping Black women elevate in this industry.
Diversified game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, you guys are in for a treat. And let me say, this is not an easy interview to get because Ann McNeill is doing something everywhere in every county in South Florida. Every organization, every award. She's written multiple books. She can show you how to even help raise your kids, and become a baby billionaire. And this is no cap. This is real game. So you guys take your notes, look in the description because we will have our website that has so much more information. And she's all about serving the community. Miss Ann, how are you doing today?
I tell you, Kellen, if I were any better, I'd be you.
We are blessed by the best. And, the challenge for me for this interview is you do this all the time and you have your own YouTube channel. And again, folks, look in the description. I know most of you are listeners, but you can also go to the YouTube and check out her YouTube. But you have so much, but I want to try to not repeat what you've already said to people, and you've written books on it. We'll try, right? We'll try. But in the time that we're in, and it's the greatest time where we have the richest, people are the richest that they've ever been, whether it's true or false, online, everybody looks like a billionaire, right? What can you give us in the beginning? What are we doing right in making this money? And what do you see could be some of the challenges and things as a whole, as a community, as a country that we need to stop doing? Because I'm sure there's things you're like, yeah, but you didn't have to go do that. You just made $10,000. Not 10 million. What are we doing right? What can we improve on?
Well, I think one of the first things we all do, and if you want to call it right, is to serve and be of service versus expecting to be served. And so I would say that would be first. I do think that takes a level of self-confidence to know that you do receive back what you send out when you serve. And sometimes when we're coming from a place of service, truly serving, we can see that. And sometimes when we're not and we think we are, we get just the reverse. And so that takes me to the second question you ask about what can we possibly stop? And I would say self-sabotaging. And having a negative self-talk, oftentimes we don't realize that our subconscious mind is really controlling a lot of what we do based upon what we see, what we hear, what we feel, and what we're told by others versus telling ourselves, this is who we are. And you started talking about, being blessed and being grateful. And I think that the more we can do that, we can stop self-sabotaging ourselves and our future.
Hello, everyone. Join us on an exciting journey with Explore the World Cameroon. London and Sydney will take you explore Cameroon, the heart of Africa. Experience the vibrant culture, nature, and traditions from Yaoundé market to rainforest adventures. Every page na new discovery. Join the Cameroonian food, music, and wildlife with our explorers. This book na true celebration of Cameroon spirit. Get your copy now. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and through your library and bookstores near Ingram's Park. Don't miss this adventure.
So that self-sabotage, if there was an excuse, you would have so many from even I was listening to an interview and you talked about the guy saying we don't hire your kind, and then later on down the road you found who his supervisor was and you let it be known. Most people might have played small, and you are a small person, in stature, but you are grandiose and grand in your personality. But many people would have been, scared to say, you guys don't hire our kind. And that guy didn't know what you were talking about, but you said the other guy was right because you were the only one. Haven't we all been there? Oh, we're the only one. Where do you think that boldness came from? Was it grandmother, mother, father that told you, you know what, speak up for yourself because you're going to be your best advocate?
Well, I would have to say my mom. My mom was a holiness minister. And I do give God the praise and honor for everything and not just some things. And sometimes when we go through situations like you just shared, my early experience, which continued sometimes to repeat itself, if you will, but the faith and belief that, God is in me and in us, if you will, but also truly believing, Keller, that all things work together for good. And what I mean by that is oftentimes we can't see it when we're in it. I'm reminded of the story of Joseph when he was sold by his brothers into the pit, only for him to end up in the palace. But he had to go through the experiences of being lied on by Potiphar's wife and lied to by the men in the prison and all of that. But he had to go through all of that to get to what God had called him to do and to be. And so for me, where this boldness comes from is hearing and reading and knowing those stories over and over and over again and seeing myself in them. And knowing that it's not about me. It really is not. It is about the people I'm here to serve. And for me, early in my career, when I was going through that, I couldn't see that then. My kind, what do you mean my kind? I've been sheltered and I didn't know I was sheltered. Growing up in Riviera Beach, going to Florida Memorial University, all of that Black experience, only to realize that there was another world out there that really, was waiting for me, and I had to be ready for it. I was not. And so as we go through these things, Kellen, it helps us to, I call it like lifting weights. The more you go in the gym and the more no matter about your size now, because some little people can lift some heavy weight and then some big people can't in terms of stature and size. And so for me, I call it faith building every single day. I have a daily date with myself, wrote a book on the subject. And just being able to know who I am, who I serve, but also be willing, Kellen, to do the inner work every single day. Yes, 7 days a week. So that's where.
Now, can we get the myth and knock it out that you have in your backyard a money tree and, you have politicians or politricians, as I like to call them, like puppets ready to do what you want? Because when you say construction, and when you say women, when you say Black women, you've been doing this, you're not new to this, you're true to this. Was there a moment where like an avenue opened up where you said, you know what, money's not my problem, or connections aren't my problem? Because many people, if you told them, when you started, they say, how you going to do that? You ain't got no money. And I just know because I hear people tell me those things. How you going to go there and travel there? And so I know the negative, and there's sometimes the closest people to you in your family that you grew up with. How did you, was there a moment where you said, I got it, I figured it out, I cracked the code, and I'm going to live in abundance?
Well, I would say December 31st, 1979, and I picked up a copy of this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. 9 p.m., December 31st, 1979. I believe that whatever we're seeking, Kellen, is seeking us. And I was on that job at the time, that same job where the guy said, we don't hire your kind. And realizing that the first guy was right. They didn't hire my kind. And even though the second guy hired me, I had to go through that. And it was the best place for me, even though it was the worst feeling in my life. The worst feeling in my life. But it was an incubation period for me to learn how to become, if you will, right? It is in that becoming of the trials and the tribulations and the struggles where you find not just yourself, but you also find your God, whoever that is for you, whoever's listening. And so that was a turning point for me. I would say 9 p.m. December 31st, 1979, when I picked up a copy of that book. My husband and friends went out to celebrate the new year. I decided to stay home and read this book. That's how that my life was. But in the reading, I came upon what he called the 6 steps to riches, which I now call my 6-step business plan, where he said, Ann McNeill, how much money do you want? That was the first question. And the second question he asked me was, by what date do you want the money by? The third question was, what are you going to do to earn the money? And I had a good corporate job, if you will. And I realized on that good corporate job that my bills exceeded my income. So I needed to find another way to make additional money. And I never thought about it, get another job or do a side hustle or start a business. And that was the beginning of cracking the code, if you will, of understanding that we don't have to just settle, but also you don't have to wait for somebody to ask you, how much money do you want? Ask yourself. So all of your listeners listen to this, ask yourself, how much money do you want? And that was the beginning for me. And it is a process. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's a journey. And it's not a destination, because it's never enough. Never enough.
How you read the book? How deep did you go? Did you read everything Napoleon Hill, including his book Outwitting the Devil? Which when I read that one, you read everything.
Everything.
And did you go back and say, let me also see what Andrew Carnegie, his mentor, had said? Did you go through everything that he did? Because people don't read it.
Absolutely. I now read what Napoleon Hill read. I now study those who he studied. It doesn't matter from Emerson to Elmer Gates, whoever it is, studying the greats, Fillmore, it doesn't matter. It is still a journey. It is the journey of self-awareness. And I like something that Carl Jung said. He said, those who go outside, they dream. Those who go inside awaken. And I think that this entire journey is a matter of awakening, Kellen, in that as we awaken, we come back to the book, that other book that we seldom talk about publicly. And that is the book of books, where the principles are timeless. And for me, it's the Bible. And so being, like I said, raised by a holiness minister mom, an entrepreneur dad, I literally did not like going to church 7 days a week and twice on Sundays. And I vowed I was never going back when I went to college. But, God has a way of bringing us back. But at the same time, planting those seeds at an early age helped me to understand that when Napoleon Hill first wrote this book, it didn't sell. You know why? Because he had Jesus all in the book. But he rewrote the book, left the spirit, and took out all the Jesus, 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 Jesus. You see, a lot of people don't realize that Carnegie was a staunch Christian, and one of my favorite books. Do you mind if I share?
Please. Wing.
Yes, one of my favorite books is an interview between Carnegie and Hill, where Andrew Carnegie was being interviewed by Napoleon Hill. And for those who know the story, how Think and Grow Rich became a book in the first place was Andrew Carnegie realized from his own state in life, where he was born into poverty and came to America, worked in the boiler rooms, and grew into who we now know as this wealthy man. But that journey that he took, he realized that there was a success philosophy. And as rich as he was, he needed somebody to write and do the 20-year research, to research the wealthiest people of their time and find out why and how is it that you can be born into poverty and die a very wealthy person. You can be born into wealth and die a poor, broken person. How is that? What are the principles? And so he invited Napoleon Hill, who was doing a story for another magazine. He invited Napoleon Hill to do a 20-year research on the philosophy of success. But the key was that he would not pay him a dime. Excuse me, and I want to ask all of your listeners, if somebody asked you to do 20 years of research on anything and they're not going to pay you a dime, would you take the charge? Would you answer the call? Chances are probably not. But Napoleon Hill did. Now, my favorite book is the interview that took place between these two men, where Andrew Carnegie was being interviewed by Napoleon Hill. And the name of the book is called The Wisdom of Andrew Carnegie, as told by Napoleon Hill, which is the actual interview. But what I like most about the interview was a question where Napoleon Hill asked Mr. Hill, he said, "What is this mastermind? What is this? What is this mastermind you talk about?" And Carnegie's response, very few people know, he said, Jesus Christ was the masterminder, and was the first masterminder, and his 12 disciples represented the first mastermind group. Now, Kaylin, the reason why that's important to me is because I wrote this book. It's entitled How to Start and Run a Successful Mastermind Group, right? And this is what I did from 1979, 80, 81, 82, in forming the Think and Grow Rich International Mastermind Association that helps thousands of individuals all over the world to meet their goals. And so that process of knowing who you are, whose you are, but also for free. I mean, I do this for free. Free. Like my friend Les Brown says, McNeill, stop telling everybody doing everything for free, because people don't respect what they get for free. And the more they pay attention. Well, I know where I was, Kellen, when I picked up this book. I was broken. Yes, broke and broken. And so I know that there are many people that may be like me. That's where they are now. And they're looking for, they're looking for not a handout, but necessarily a hand up, if you will. And so that to me is my test, because everybody who say yay, don't, even though I do it for free, like Les Brown said, people don't respect what they get for free. So that is my journey, to go to your question. That is the journey for me.
I have to highlight, you say in the 80s you made that book. It was 93 when I told my parents, look, I got a book done. Can I publish it? They said, do the research. And I didn't have the $10,000+ to make that book. So now having a publishing company, be able to publish whenever we want. And I didn't say it was the most profitable. So I don't just rush and go say, let me go get a book and go get a publishing company, because there's other businesses that make a lot more money. But I do it, but I could only imagine what it cost you then. Did you have a publishing deal? Did you self-publish? Did you create your own publishing company? What happened? How did you do that?
No, what I did was I did the work first. In other words, we took time to develop the process. How do you really start a mastermind group? You start with one person. So I started with a mastermind group, and we did that for 10 years, meeting every single Saturday. So everything I did, I documented what I did. And eventually, one of the people in our mastermind group was a publisher. She owned a publishing company, Dr. Betty Knighton, out of Riviera Beach, Emerge Publishing. And so she published 3 books for me at the same time. One was the manual on how to start and run a successful mastermind group. The second one was the actual workbook, which allows people to actually work in the process of starting this mastermind group. And the third one was what I call my daily date with myself. And so those were the books that she published for me. And no, it wasn't actually the number you just gave. I probably got all 3 published for that amount.
Ready to dominate your industry with strategy that actually scales? At Coleman Public Relations and Consulting Firm, we're not just PR experts, We're licensed sports agents certified in AI and elite business consultants with over 2 decades of experience leading global projects across multiple countries. Visit cprfirm.com, that's colemanprfirm.com, and millionairex.ai. Then download the Millionaire X app, your AI powered guide to getting out of debt, investing smarter, and building generational wealth. Coleman Public Relations and Consulting Firm. It's a family business. It's different.
You had a better deal than I.
But the timing was different. The timing was different. The timing, though, was different. Because remember now, people can self-publish now for almost pennies on the dollar compared to many years ago when we're talking about, right?
Yeah. 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 Oh, I made a pamphlet book. Like we didn't let that stop. You know, it was a book of poems but I have short stories and different things still to this day that I'm like, are they ready for that one?
Yes, they're ready. They're ready.
Yeah. I hope. You know, people can be discouraged in their, you know, when you're young, you have all the ideas, but you can write a story so good that they call you in the principal's office with the police and they say, hey, we got something here. We busted them. And they're like, this kid has a good imagination. But, you know, I'll promote.
Wait. Now, Einstein says that imagination is everything. So that's the beginning of who you are today, that imagination.
But, and I say this for the 14-year-old or the 12-year-old that's out there, the parents who are listening, that isn't always appreciated. You know, when you see an artist draw something, my daughter's a great artist, and I've seen people, oh, that art is kind of dark. But I say, I want to know where it comes from. I want to know what, you know, we homeschooled you for the most of your career. Like, where does some of this come from? Because even in the darkness, I can see the art, but I'm a key artist and I can see it and I want to know because it's beautiful. And she's won awards and all type of things. But, you know, we don't always hone in on those things. And I can remember people saying, oh, you know, stop. Focus on this. And I'm like, my skill is not in that. My skill is this. I want to do this. I knew what I wanted to do at 12 years old. I wrote the vision down and made it plain. How, when you came up with everybody probably saying a woman in construction, you want to write books, you want to speak, Les Brown, you know, who made $400,000+ in less than an hour. He said, how do you keep going to say, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to knock it out. And you did it married and you did it with children. So when women say, can I have it all? You are like a walking, living example of, yes, you can. Keep on pushing. But that mentality, what do you keep telling yourself? And tell them the book that they should buy from you to get that. Because I know you've already written in a book, so they need to study that book.
Well, and I'm glad you asked, because this book was 20 years in the making, but I just published it this year. It's called You Must Have a Dream to Have a Dream Come True. But this answers your question. Keeping the dream alive. Keeping the dream alive. And a lot of people don't realize, when you mentioned Les Brown, I mentioned Les Brown. I am the motivator to Les Brown from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. I'm that person that was behind the scene motivating him as he motivated others. And so when you talk about how do you do it? You surround yourself with like-minded and like-spirited people. Like-minded and like-spirited people. When I met Les Brown, he was not Les Brown. He was that guy looking to buy a place for his mom, riding on the back of the garbage truck on the radio station. And we just became friends because I had a home not far from where his mom lived, and he was looking to buy my home, and that's how we met. And so from that, here now, 40 years later, still friends. But again, being a motivator, being motivated by the motivator, but also motivating the motivator. But not just Les Brown, but so many other people. But we all have to have what I call a daily date with yourself. What does that look like? It could be something as simple as a prayer, a journal, an affirmation, quiet time, a walk, a run, whatever it means for you. Because see, we're each, Kelly and I believe that we're each like bank accounts. And daily we must make those deposits every single day, because others are making withdrawals every single day. And in my book, you must have a dream to have a dream come true. I focus on my desire and my dream and my spiritual life, my family life, my financial life, my health, my education, my personal development by reading a little something in every single area of my life, my career, all of my businesses, my recreation. I just did a 6-month cruise this year, January, going again, January next year. But the civic area, I'm involved in over 50 different civic organizations, but it didn't just start with all of them. It started with one, then I added another, then another, then another, then another. And I just tap them every now and then, which means you just show up. And because I wear red, when people see red, they think it's me, especially if somebody's black and red. But again, a creative. And so these areas of my life is how I do what I do, by investing in myself first every single day, Kellen. And by doing that, I host something every single day. And your guests can follow me because every Monday, I host $1 million Mastermind. And you can go to Black NSA. It's called blacknsaspeakers.org. I coach for over 15 years a group of professional speakers on this philosophy and my framework in Think and Grow Rich. And they've made millions. Every Tuesday, which I just did before I came on the show with you today, I host on YouTube, how to start and run a successful mastermind group. And it's free for those individuals who want to do that. It's just questions and answers for 30 minutes. And then every Wednesday, I do what I call Anne's Wonderful Words of Wisdom, focusing on one of these principles. And then Thursday, I do a webinar. Friday morning, no matter where I am in the world, I host a free call, yes, again, free, on Friday Accountability, Think and Grow Rich. What did you read? And I get a lot of people to come on and share what they've read. Every Saturday, I host a podcast. And then every Sunday, Kellen, I work with the children. 30 years, every Sunday, an hour to 30 minutes to an hour. And we walk through a page of the book where they read and we discuss. They read, we discuss. And then we're done. Now, my point is this, to answer your question. I make these daily deposits every single day, but it's compounded over the years. And people don't see that. They see you where you are right now and they want to be you in a moment, right? But they don't want to pay the bills and the investment, the hours, the struggles that you've had to go through. I want to skip all of that. No, I just want, I want to be at the pool. I want to have the podcast he has. I want that brand he has, that swag he's got.
With that, though, you have 5 businesses doing all that. Still, husband, family. People say, what type of time does she have? It's the same 24 hours. But I want to go. I want to remember. You mentioned the red. Can you tell people why red? Why the frames? Because it's all fly. And the only other person I see who really, has glasses that stick out is that Golden. He has new glasses, but he doesn't do a lot of, interviews or press. But he writes 200 plus books. Why those frames? Why that color? There's a reasoning for that, I'm sure.
Actually, I wish I were that smart. No, not that smart. The red from high school, love the color. College at Florida Memorial, I pledged Delta. Red. And that's also, for me, I travel a lot. It's an easy color to travel with because I wear the red and a white, or I wear the red and a black. It's easy to pack for a woman. I don't need a big piece of luggage. I can carry a check bag and travel for a month. Now, the glasses were not an intentional choice. My grandson, Malachi Monroe, he was in college in Baltimore, And forget the name of the college, Malachi, please forget. I forget the name of the college in Baltimore. Help me, those of you that familiar with Baltimore. Anyway, he was in college and the movie was coming out. I was going to visit him. We do a grandma date every year. When he was small, we would do a grandma date. I would take him on a date once a month, anywhere he wanted to go. I mean, locally, right? But when he got older, then he decided to take me on a grandma date. And so a particular movie came out. I flew to meet him, to go to the movie, and left my readers, just regular readers, at home. Could not read anything on the flight. Had to find a store, Walmart, drugstore, something where I could just pick up a pair of readers. No store anywhere near the Baltimore Harbor. Walking to the theater, I go into this shop, just looking at through the window, and while I'm there, I see these glasses, the only pair of glasses in the entire store. No other glasses, no readers, no nothing. And they're hanging on a mannequin that was wearing red. So I asked the person if the glasses were for sale. The lady said, yeah, what do you give me for me? $5. And that was a long time ago. A long time ago.
And it worked. And it worked. And people
listen, and I hated them. I hated them because they were not regular readers. I mean, but my point is, boxy, horrible looking, and people kept complimenting, and I'm thinking, you're kidding me, right? And just never took them off. And that they just happened to be red, and the only pair in the store. But again, it's so is life. When you recognize an opportunity, how often does it look ugly and you don't grab it? It don't look like, and it's not packaged like you think it should be, and you don't grab it. And so is life. It's the same way. It's a problem, but it's an opportunity disguised as a problem. But you walk away. You don't stay long enough in that marriage. You don't stay long enough at that prayer. You don't stay long enough in that relationship. You don't stay long enough on that job to see it turn for you. And sometimes I just think that, getting to know yourself better, but also getting to know what is it that you truly desire. I believe is desiring you. But sometimes we don't stay on the track long enough to find it.
Woo. You're preaching, and that goes into the question. You've been married, you stayed married, doing all of this thing. I believe it's 40 years plus. Please give us all the game who are, inspiring to get to there without somebody planning somebody's, death. And we know women actually don't, live longer being married. Men do. That says a lot. When men say, hey, she's stressing me out, say, look at the research, though. You're going to last a lot longer being an indoor cat than an outdoor cat. But what would be a tip that you give folks who want to be married or want to stay married and do their business and have it all like you've been able to do?
No. Let's dispel that myth. No. Let's dispel that myth right now. No. I am remarried to my boyfriend. Can we drop the mic on that? Remarried to my boyfriend. 30 some odd years. 50 some odd years and remarried. Because it is not perfect. And that's the point I'm making about staying on the path. Old folks used to stay married regardless, no matter what. He walked out, he cheated, she cheated, He said to death do part. Yeah, but it's not until you go through some things, and we've gone through some things in our marriage, but we've been remarried now. My grandson is 26. We remarried. We've been remarried for 26 years. 26 years. And so it's not easy, but I think the journey of finding yourself, because it was me, it was not my husband. And this journey that we're on, we run behind the glittery, whatever you want to call those things. And it's not until we get them that we realize, tarnish. Can we talk? Can like they say, yeah, I don't know if your audience can handle this, because it's not what it's all made up to be. And so each one of us must travel the path on your own, at your own pace and your own rate. But what's most important I can only speak for myself, is faith and family. So it doesn't matter whatever you achieve when you're lying on your deathbed. And I host a retreat once a year. And at that retreat, I open it up with the funeral home director. And before my guests come, you must send me your obituary. Why? Because for me, I know that the most important thing in my life is my faith and my family. So when you're lying on your deathbed, who's standing there around you? Who's giving you that glass of water through a straw because you can't drink? Who's wetting your brow? It's family. Prayerfully, it's family. And so for me, again, is understanding who and what was most important late in my life. Because I thought, like most of us, I thought it was about the money. Or if I get more money, I get all this stuff. So that, to me, answers your question. I think for each of us, you've got to be clear about what's most important to you and who's most important to you. Because it is never, ever, ever enough. It's never enough. If you had $1 billion, as Warren Buffett, it's never enough. It's never going to be enough.
You made me think, because I had just lost my grandmother, and we flew out to California for the second time. We got to see her 2 weeks prior, right? And through a decade, my uncle supported. He's married in the family. My aunt, took care of her mother and whatnot. My mother is passed, but we call her mother. And she had family around her always. I think about when we go into nursing homes for other businesses that we do, and we see people who family haven't come to visit them. And it said, what did you do in life? Whether they have money or not, people only come if they want something, or maybe they need something. But what you said is really like, if you were successful, if you really won, is your family around you at the end, taking care and putting a straw? Because some people got to hire a nurse to do that. At what age or what year of business did you figure out that it's never enough? Because some people, they got it all, so they think, but all they have is money. They don't have family. They didn't have friends.
Yeah, I think still figuring it out. When I see my youngest daughter, who retired early, a very early age, 30, because she learned how to analyze stocks and how to invest and how to save at a very early age, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And when she was in high school, PBS did a special on her. She ranked number 1 in the United States out of 5,000 girls, her own business called the Baby Billionaire. And so learning how to make money, she decided she would make more money make money than on somebody's job, because she learned how to manage her money and she learned how to analyze the stocks. Now, so I've watched her in this journey as a younger person, coming back to your question. So money is not the factor, but money is not everything. And so as I've watched her go through this, I'm reminded of all of us. I can tell you now that if you were to take me back to my corporate job, right, and you were to ask me, which would you choose, being an entrepreneur or staying on your job? Now, this is an investment question about when did you realize it's never enough, right? And you were to ask me, which would you choose? Take a guess which one I would choose.
I would want to say, you might say your job.
I would say my job. Now ask me why.
It could be the security. Why? I'm gonna ask. I'm not gonna guess. I'm gonna ask. Why?
Because if I knew then what I know now about the power of compound interest and analyzing stocks, and for your listeners that's interested in what I'm saying, go to betterinvesting.org. It's a nonprofit organization that teaches individuals how to analyze stocks and how to invest. That's what we did 30 years ago with my daughter. She's 36 now, when she was 6. Because I did not know what I did not know. I'd save a few dollars and gave it to somebody and never see the money again. It wasn't Madoff, but it was a mini Madoff pretending to be Madoff. And I never saw the money again. And it was everything I'd saved. And I got mad with the person. It was a brother, looked like me. But I got more upset with myself for not understanding how to save, how to analyze stocks, and how to invest. And so being in a mastermind group, what are you going to do? You read something on the subject. And we read this book, The Millionaire Next Door. And it talked about these women who are part of this organization called NAIC, National Association of Investment Clubs. They're all volunteers, but they help you start an investment club. And so we contacted them. They're now rebranded as Better Investing. And we contacted them and started our first investment club. This is my point about a job and a business. And you own a business, and you know it's not always what people think it is. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so understanding the value of a $20 bill invested once a month in a fund that you've researched is not 6 figures, it's 7. Can I say that again?
Yes.
Not $100, not $20 a week, $20 a month. A month. So in other words, I could have hit 7 figures on my job by investing versus leaving my job, starting a business, if it was only about the money. You see, my friend Beatrice Lewis Saint just retired from the Florida Minority Business Council here in the state. And about 2 years ago, I called up and just checking in. And she her sister died, and anyway, she wasn't in a very good place mentally, emotionally. I'm just checking on her, and so she was a little upbeat. I said, "Oh, what's going on?" She said, "Oh, my company is giving me a 3-week vacation, and I'm gonna take a vacation." I said, "Great, where are you gonna go?" She said, "I'm gonna go to Asia." I said, "Wonderful. Who's going with you?" Kellen, she said, "No, I'm going by myself." I said, "Whoa, you can't go that far by yourself." She said, "Yes." She said, "And listen, I have friends that have money, but they don't have time, so they cannot go with me." And then she said, "I have friends that have time, but they have no money, and they cannot go with me." And she said, "I have no friends that have the time and the money right now who can go with me." I said, "Hold up, I can go with you." She said, "You're kidding me, right?" I said, No. I will go with you. I don't see you going for 3 weeks in Asia, all these different places by yourself. No. My point is this. So I didn't do it for the money. I didn't leave my job for the money. I left for the freedom. But if it were only for the money, I could have stayed. That's my point, and invested. So because I did both, I learned how to analyze stocks and how to invest. So did my daughter, youngest daughter. And so the making money exceeded the money I make in my business. And a lot of times we don't teach that because we don't know it. And then when we know
teach people how to have, but we don't teach people how to have sex, and they figure it out, right? And they go get the Kama Sutra from the library. I'm talking about my own story, right? As and figure out every position they want to do. And so do we still, with the technology that we have, and the algorithm telling you what you want to see, is it on us to teach it, or do the people need to seek it, or is it a mixture of both? Because I'm just not one for excuses, because no one gave me one, and so I'm just asking, and I'm trying to show all the grace to the people. But we find everything else. We find booties in Colombia and Dominican Republic. but we can't go find what your fire number is. You know, you're financially independent, retire early. For those of y'all, Google that. Like, is it our mindset, which you focus a lot on in your business, and a lot of your books, like E-Myth, that you recommend on your website, talk about mindset. You know, who is that on at the end of the day?
It's your responsibility. First of all, you have the first chapter in this book. You've got to have a desire for a number. What's your number? You talk about fire, but what's the fire number? What's your number? And each of us must have a number that you desire, how much you want, but are you willing to become the person that you must become to make that number? That's where the work is. And it is every single day. But also align yourself with a coach, like somebody like myself or Kellen or others, who can help take you from where you are to where you want to be. Because a lot of times we think, I mean, look at Tiger Woods. He had a coach. Look at the best of the best, whether they're singers or whatever, they have a coach. And so I think it's each of our responsibility, first of all, to have a desire and then be willing to take action. A lot of times we have a desire and these dreams, but are you willing to go inside, like Carl Jung said, and actually become awakened to the awareness that there's a lot of work that we each need to do. Start with yourself. And so with that thought in mind, for us, we got the book, we contacted the organization, and then we started our first investment club. And from that day to this, we've helped over 20 different groups start an investment club. And I contend the first investment club I started was with the Mastermind group. And that's my journey, to go to your question. My desire is, once I can get an individual to start and run their own investment club, then I am going to, which is what I do, I then encourage you, take that Mastermind group and turn it into an investment club. And we help you with that for free. Better Investing, we're all volunteers, betterinvesting.org. And you can go, like I said, to my website, annmcneill.com, or you can text me at 59925 and just put Ann in the chat, because the information is free, Kellen, but will we take advantage of the information and then take action?
Man, with that, you do so much for free. I always ask people what their community give back is. You mentioned yours, but if there's anything you can go deeper, or, you know, if there's another one that you do, just because I haven't met somebody who is successful, who is great, who hasn't given back. And I've done thousands of interviews on this platform and on others, and everybody has something. So can you go deeper in that? Because also people will try to be your friend just so they can try to piecemeal the information together and get the sauce that you have. But what is another community give back, or if you can go deeper on the ones that you had mentioned?
Absolutely. I think my favorite is internationalmasterminders.com, which is where we help people start and run their own mastermind group. That's one. The second one, I would say, I'm the founder of the National Association of Black Women in Construction. You go there, NABWIC, NABWIC.org. And that's where I help individuals in the construction industry, because I am a contractor for 40 plus years. But I also know that if you take a Black woman, 5 or 6 children, where can she go, Kellen, and make 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30, $40 an hour without finishing high school and don't have to wait for a baby daddy? Where can she go and do that? Construction. No high school, no GED, no college degree. Construction. And then she can take that craft and that trade and turn it to a business without a degree. Where are you going to go and do that? And I still volunteer to help women do that. And I have a lot of stories of a lot of women that I've helped make 6 and 7 figures. But you got to do the work. And so that's another one. And I'm on the board for Florida Memorial University, my alma mater. And so those individuals who want to go a different route, Black, white, green, or yellow, or Hispanic, join us at Florida Memorial. The state of the art, so many different areas. But again, you've got to have a desire. Nobody can give you that desire. So you can see all of these free, not-for-profit things around you. And if you're not clear on what you want, you step over it every single day, like many of us do. But talking to your guests, Kellen, I really want to challenge them to think about what is it that you really want? Who's going to help you get that? And if you are really searching and you claim you want it, you don't have a little something, then connect with us, because time will tell if you're really true to it, if you will, to do the inner work to become that you need to become to have what you claim you want.
We could go on for Joe Rogan style hours, but we don't have that type of time. But I do want to ask you, which I didn't see anyone else ask you, and I was looking and digging. You have the books. Have you considered saying yes to the movie? I don't know if Tyler or Spike or Ryan Coogler, but it is a real movie, and it's cheaper now to do it. And I know you live here in Palm Beach, but you have your office in Miami, where the NATPE, the National Association of Television Producers and Executives, is every year. Have you considered, or do you have the script ready for your own film?
No, hadn't even thought about it. It was not on the radar.
Oh, and I say that because the books are great. And books are, you already have the master classes. My theory is the books will be the master class that can forever change, because all you got to do, like your courses, is change something in there. But, AI and everything else that makes things easier, of course, if we use it properly, I can see it. I can see the movie. Now, if you want all your business out there, that's a whole nother thing, because they got to have some of that juice and that meat stuff that I'm not ready for personally, because, man, I got to be in my other house in Africa for some of this to be told. But but okay, so no thoughts of that. Let them know more about your retreat, how to tap into you, because again, she has her own YouTube. I want you guys to go over that. I want you to subscribe. I know most of you are listeners, but I want you to go over to the YouTube so you can put a name with a face, so when you see her, you can then connect in a deeper way. But yeah, let the people know about your retreat, when it is, and anything else that you have coming.
Well, again, you can reach me at annmcneill.com. A lot of what I do is there. I live on text, and so that's why I ask people to text me at 59925 and just put Ann in the chat, and I will be the person that's calling you back from that. But again, I really want individuals, Kellen, to think about, what is it that you want? I mean, if you don't want anything, you don't need to contact me. You can just do whatever you're doing. But if you are really looking for a coach and you're looking to connect, to go to the next level, then we can have a conversation, a discovery conversation. You can go to annmcneill.com and you can share your information there. And I like you said, I host a retreat once a year. It's usually the first week in November. And we just left Hutchinson Island at a phenomenal event with individuals. But I only take 10 people. I can only take 10 because it is so intense to really give the proper time and energy to that group. It is powerful. And so again, if you're interested in that, you can text the number 59925 and just put Ann in the chat, and we can talk about how we can help take you and/or your business to the next level.
Y'all have got the game. If you took notes, rewind, have AI summarize it, whatever you need to do. You can't say no one did not tell me. You can't, nobody told me. You have been told and you made it through. So now it's for you to apply it. You guys to go connect. We don't have the Neuralink yet where we can just inject this information in you. Only Elon has that, but you see how it makes you look and talk sometimes. So be careful for what you'll get, what you ask for sometimes. But I thank y'all. I need you guys to, ask your comments. You can like, but most importantly, I need you to share this game with somebody. It will change their life. Y'all be blessed out there.
Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD, Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand, or 10,000 Kenyan shillings, or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.